everyone. We are live in the OHbaby office. First time ever, we're doing a live news feed with Dorothy Waide, our baby expert. Hi Dorothy.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm really good.
This is pretty exciting. We haven't done this before, so we're really hoping that our friends out there in Facebook world can see this.
Oh, absolutely.
And hear this. Hearing it is good. And we're hoping it's working. And they can now ask questions on our comments section. Underneath the video there should be a comments area, and they can ask you questions about baby sleep, anything sleep related. Just hit us with your best questions. We're going to be chatting with Dorothy for the next half hour. So yeah, welcome. This is exciting.
Thank you very much, and I know we'll figure out whether it's working or not by all the questions.
Well, that's right. There is a gauge of efficiency if people are asking questions. Even if they're not, though, we are happy to chat because Dorothy Waide is a wealth of information and expertise and wisdom. You've been working with babies for 40 years?
Oh, thanks.
Well, yeah, I don't want to say that out loud, but I mean, that's the word on the street, isn't it?
It is.
4 decades of baby care, which means you must know heaps of good wisdom.
I know heaps, but I also believe you learn something new every day.
Yeah,
every day you learn something new.
That's good. It's good to keep in mind. Even as your children get older and older, it's still a steep learning curve, isn't it?
It is. Well, parenting's a lifelong journey.
It is a lifelong journey. Yeah.
And parenting to sleep is part of that.
Yeah. So sleep, though, is quite a major issue for parents, whatever stage they're on in the journey. So we thought we'd talk about sleep this morning specifically. To start off, what advice have you got? There'll be mothers tuning in right now, seeing this in the news feed, who didn't get much sleep last night. They may have had a baby waking on the hour. They may have a baby waking every 3 hours. They may have felt like they got no sleep at all. So what would you say to mothers who are just so tired right now and overwhelmed?
Okay, just to remember, it's normal that newborn babies wake up during the night. That's what they're meant to do.
Yeah.
To rest when the baby sleeps. To look after yourself, be kind to yourself. Don't have too high expectations.
Yeah.
Look at your diet. Make sure that you're eating well, you're fueling your body, getting those nice mineral, vitamins and, good stuff into your system, because what goes in your mouth goes into your milk.
Yeah, it's good. Good advice. Just to look after yourself is so important as a new mum, isn't it? And people say just try and get some more sleep, rest when baby rests. It can seem a bit like an impossible dream, excuse the pun, but the reality is just snuggle up with baby and take it easy.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think we're just so busy. I mean, when you have a baby, be kind to yourself, slow down.
Yeah.
Because that's really, really important. Yeah. And, quite often, especially with your newborn babies, if you're holding your babies while it's sleeping, it's a good time to put your feet up and rest as well. Yeah. So resting when your baby is sleeping is not necessarily you lying on a bed and sleeping, but it's doing something that brings calmness to you.
Yes. Yeah, that's good. Good advice. And to protect mum, look after mum and help her get enough rest, she's going to need help. She's going to need some support. Yeah. So we need to accept help, don't we? We're not necessarily the best at doing it, but to get through this, we're going to have to ask for help, aren't we?
You absolutely do, and it's good to have a good village around you.
Yeah.
And it's also good to remember that you are your baby's expert. Yeah. You are your baby's whisperer. So when you're getting that help, remember, don't do anything with yourself or your baby that doesn't gel with you. Yeah. So listen to yourself because you are your baby's expert.
Yes, it's intuitive, isn't it? It's an intuitive journey.
It is.
I can't actually see the questions. Apparently there's questions coming in, but I'm just going to hand this to tech support.
Yes,
this iPad.
You might have to do a refresh.
Because I need a little refreshing. We all need a bit of refreshing.
Absolutely.
Let's be honest. While we do that, a 4-week-old with reflux. What's your advice? Reflux it's a major.
Reflux is a major, and the reflux babies are in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to make sure that they're managed correctly by the medical professional people. Yeah. So if you've got a baby with reflux, the first thing I tend to look at is what is the mother eating. Yeah. There's 3 food groups I look at. There's lots of other foods that you can look at. Yeah. But don't take everything out of your diet so you're not eating anything. You've got to be able to eat to survive. So I always suggest taking dairy out for 72 hours.
Yeah.
Now, you can't sniff it, you can't have a pinhead, you can't even look at it.
Yeah.
At the end of the 72 hours, no difference, bring it back in.
Yeah.
Do the same with wheat gluten, then do the same with sugar.
Yeah.
At the end of that 3 lots of 72 hours, if there's no difference, we know it's not those 3 major food groups that are causing the food intolerance.
Yeah.
So then we have to look at the next step. Now, bear in mind, to get all those food groups out of your system takes up to 3 months. But with all the parents I work with, I always find that if it is a food intolerance, you see a big difference if you take all the food out for 24 hours.
Right, okay.
The next thing is to look at doing something alternative.
Yeah.
Okay? If we've got a reflux baby, we've got a colic baby. If we've got a colic baby, we've got a reflux baby.
Yeah.
The best thing to do with these babies is to hold them.
Yes. Well, this is a good point, because with the reflux question, it was around each time you put baby down, especially on their back, and I've heard this is common with refluxy babies, there's pain, and so they just will not settle. So how do we manage that?
Personally, I would bring them to me. So ideally, the 4-week-old baby is up about 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
It's the sleeping rhythm that dictates how often you'll feed your baby. So if you've got a reflux baby that's only sleeping for 45 minutes and you can't resettle, then you'd be feeding every 90 minutes at that age.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing about that is that the baby's not doing good gastric emptying. So I always say try and resettle.
Yeah.
Dummies are a godsend for reflux babies, and we all have this attitude that, we can't have a baby with a dummy. The thing with the dummy is how you use it.
Yeah.
So we need to let our babies talk to us before we plug them.
Yeah.
So babies in pain will talk. Talking is crying. Crying is a form of communication. But don't leave them in their cot crying. Bring them into you, engulf them, and sit. If you're going to hold a baby, the best bit of advice I can give you is don't do anything you can't replicate in a cot.
Yes, that's
so
right.
there's a lot of advice out there of doing rocking, jiggling, walking, swinging, swaying. Put them in a buggy with a cord over. I've got a mum asking me that question on email at the moment, and rock them back and forth. Just look at that cot. Does the cot do those movements? If it doesn't, then when you pick up your baby and engulf, your body has become the mattress. So hold it and let your baby cry within you. To me, there's no such thing as a no-cry sleep solution, because babies have got to talk to us.
They've got to communicate.
They've got to communicate, but it's what and where you are when your baby's crying.
Yeah, and with reflux, we've got plenty of articles about reflux on our website. Here's something I prepared earlier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
well done.
OHbaby.co.nz. On our website, there are lots of articles on reflux from different professionals, from doctors, from naturopaths, from yourself. Last year we covered a story, and we had a personal story from a team member actually here at OHbaby, and she did have to carry her baby a lot to get through that worst patch of reflux. But just encourage you, check out our website, check out other resources we've got on the site. Let's have a look at another question. They're coming in. How often should an 8-month-old baby be sleeping during the day? An
8-month-old baby, 2 naps a day, minimum of an hour and a half. Yeah, 2 naps a day.
Hour and a half.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Now,
what if they wake up?
Then you resettle, because if they're waking up overnight, it means that your babies don't know how to resettle. And resettling is the key to getting your babies to sleep well at night.
Yeah.
Resettling is not about leaving your babies in the cot screaming their lungs out. It's giving them an appropriate time, and then you work with them. Now, if you've
resettling, hard work.
Resettling is extremely hard work.
Which was why we got Dorothy to write about it. Couple of, maybe not last year, but the year before. So again, go on the website and find that article on resettling, where Dorothy explains her advice, your advice. You're right here. On resettling, because that's hard. I remember it. Oh, it's so tricky.
Yeah,
they're awake, and you know they should be asleep, and it's just.
Yeah, take a look. Take a look at your room. Dark is for sleeping, light is for sleeping. I know the old-fashioned theory is that they should be able to sleep in a lighted room, but don't forget, in those days we'd put our babies in a cot and walk up and leave them, and of course they'd go to sleep.
Yeah. They need so they need to be really in that sleep environment. All the things that their sleep environment needs, and lots of shushing, lots of
cupping.
Read the article. Great article. Cupping, shushing.
Yeah.
Perseverance, I remember.
Yeah, but if you've got an 8-month-old baby and you're over resettling because it doesn't work, because everybody says it doesn't work, have a look at your routine or what you're doing in their wake cycles, because it's a wake cycle that will help you with the sleeping routine. A nap isn't from when they fall asleep. A nap is from the time they go into their cot to the time you say it's time to wake up.
Yeah.
And if they're really if they're a tricky 8-month-older that won't resettle, I tend to get in before, like a newborn baby, once I put them into a cot, because I normally do the first 12 weeks in arms. and I actually touch, and when I feel a subtle change in their body movement, that's when I'll start doing a movement on them to try and keep them asleep. Self-settling is about stopping and starting and helping them to learn how to fall asleep. Resettling is about keeping them asleep. So you can't keep going in and out of the room.
Even if they stir, they should be still asleep, so they can actually move into another sleep cycle. Yeah. We are getting lots of questions, and we probably won't have time to answer them all today, but so can I just say, go check out Dorothy's website.
Oh, thank you.
There we go, babyhelp.co.nz. Buy her book, You Simply Can't Spoil a Newborn. There's plenty of advice and wisdom in here. This talks people through the newborn months.
Absolutely.
Through to how old?
It's the first 12 weeks.
First 12 weeks.
However, if you've been rocking, walking, swinging, breastfeeding to sleep, any of those things, and you're wanting to change it with an older baby, I recommend that you go back to the newborn settling.
Back to the basics.
You've got to go back to the basics. You can't stop one thing and put them in a cot. You've got to go very slowly, little baby steps.
Those foundational things with settling and resettling. Dorothy is an expert. We've talked about it a lot in our articles, so go find them. She also has video tutorials available on your website, don't you? You can get this, and the videos are all on there on a memory stick.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Let's find another question. Twins. Have you worked with twins?
Absolutely.
Twins, triplets, quadruplets?
No, I've only done twins. I've done one lot of triplets in New Zealand, but the twins are my limit.
I digress anyway, because we have a question about twins. What should I do with twins overnight, asks Amy. I have 10-week-old twins. I have been waking the other one when the first one wakes. At what point should I let the other sleep and let her wake when she's ready? Do you wake the twins together?
I do in the beginning, but then there comes a time if I've got a twin that's sleeping longer than the other one, I tend to leave the twin going longer. It's harder work, but you get better results in the long run. So as long as you've got a good village around you, you've got the support, or you can manage it yourself, I would be leaving the twin who wants to sleep well alone because they've regained their birth weight, there's no medical conditions, then they're happy to sleep. And then just with the other one, I'd probably try and resettle before I feed. I always resettle before I feed, just to ensure that that baby's not waking up just for reassurance. Because a lot of babies wake overnight because they've done a pee, a poo, a fart. They've just woken up and they moved. They don't know how to go back to sleep. But what we do is we jump out with boobs blazing or bottles blazing, put the babies on, go.
That's a great picture.
Oh. But they've gone to say, oh, well, I'll feed them now. So I always try, even with my newborns, as long as they've regained their birth weight and there's no medical condition, I always try and resettle a little bit before I feed.
Before you just offer food.
Resettling is not about not feeding your babies overnight. It's ensuring you're feeding for hunger and not for comfort.
Sleep routines. Sleep cycles. Everyone loves to talk about routines. But here's a question from Emma. Tips to get a 12-week-old baby into their next sleep cycle. 12-week-old will wake himself to sleep, will take himself to sleep, fine at the start, 35, 45 minutes, that old chestnut when baby wakes up again and doesn't go back to sleep. Oh, we've talked about this, haven't we? Resettling.
We have, but one thing I'll add on there is how does your baby self-settle? Are you putting your baby into the cot wide awake? If you're getting your baby drowsy and then transferring them, you're doing all the work. So you need to stop and let them do a little bit of the doing and you do more of the being. Because how they fall asleep is normally how they'll resettle. And yes, we've covered it all on how to resettle. And again, my book will give all the resettling techniques. It's
a bit complex, the whole resettling thing. So I do really encourage people to go and read what your descriptions of the process, because I know they really helped me when I was resettling babies. My son used to sleep all night, but recently was very sick and now won't sleep through the night. This is a common one, regression. You know, when a baby is in a great sleep patterns or whatever, regression, it does happen. He's 13 months old. He's had some surgeries, poor little guy. But, you know, when sickness occurs and good sleep patterns are suddenly changed, like, what's your advice there?
Okay, for a 13-month-old baby, I'd be ensuring that the first feed of the morning is a solid milk. Solids.
Milk.
Yeah, sorry, that didn't come out right. Solids, their milk. I would also be looking at their diet. I do find that fruit, anything with sugar, high sugar levels, can contribute to night waking. And it mightn't have affected him before, but it could be affecting him now. So first feed of the day is solids, and also from lunchtime onwards, I take out fruit, yogurts, and hard cheese. Hard cheese can contribute to night waking and night terrors. I also tend to take out yogurt because a lot of New Zealand children eat yogurt after dinner. Now, by the time they've got to lunchtime, our toddlers have already had their 2 fruit servings.
Yeah.
So yes, fruit is a healthy option as long as you're not overdoing it. And then lots of just support at night time. I mean, I would probably go right back to my newborn.
Yeah.
If he was waking at a set time, I would probably go in and help him resettle before he woke up too early.
Yeah.
I do everything from a minimum of 10 days.
Yeah.
The first 3 to 4 days are days from hell.
Yeah.
Day 2 we want to give up. I do as well because I'm human.
Yeah.
But you've got to, at some stage, get through to day 10.
Yeah.
If there's no dim light at the end of the tunnel, then we're missing something.
Yeah.
So I would be supporting him. There's no, I would give him an appropriate time to resettle as long as it's an appropriate noise.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be sitting outside having a cup of coffee and he's, screaming his eyes out and trying to climb out the cot. If I go in at 30 months and he's standing, I tend to do what I call a cot cuddle.
Cuddle, yes.
And I just sit there or stand and I just cuddle them. It's engulfing.
Yeah.
And I say nothing. I just let their whole bodies calm down.
Yeah.
And then lie them back down when they're ready. It will take you a good 20 minutes for them to calm down, if not longer. And then lie down and then I touch them until they go to sleep.
So when you talk about your engulfing, your engulf hold, it's sort of as much body contact as you can to just really hold them close.
Yeah.
But not talking to them, not using verbal reassurance?
No.
You in the middle of the night we're talking?
Yeah, well, you imagine if you were trying to go to sleep or you'd been woken and you try and go back to sleep and your partner looks in your eyes and starts talking to you, what would you say to them? Yeah, exactly. And I feel, well, babies and toddlers are little people.
Yeah.
And you watch your babies, and I've seen babies that really get really upset when people keep talking and looking at them. So let your body talk to them. Your body is a really good, it's a hug presence. It's nurturing.
Yeah, it's good.
And it's really positive. So that's all I feel they need.
Yeah, that's good. Good advice. Got a few questions around that, so probably similar answers. But if you have a question that we don't get to today and you still would really like to know Dorothy's advice on it, go to ohbaby.co.nz, ask our expert.
Yes.
We've got a whole range of experts on various topics, everything from sleeping to car seats to nutrition. Go to Ask Our Experts and ask the question to Dorothy and she will answer it and we get it back to you. And that's just a great service.
It is, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, here's a good one. Can you please tell me how important it is for newborns to sleep in their parents' room? I would prefer her in her own room. It's from the mum. What do you say about newborns sleeping in parents' room and for how long and pros and cons?
I'm going to say it's absolutely parents' personal choice because at the end of the day, you are your baby's expert and you're your baby's whisperer.
Yeah.
However, SIDS Association or SUDI recommend that the baby stays in your room for the first 12 months. It's
12 weeks.
12 months.
12 months?
That is the recommended age. Then they come back to 6 months. No. A lot of people do the first 6 months.
Yeah.
But it's important because they can hear you breathing.
Right.
Okay. Now, I don't recommend using white noise and stuff like that ongoing. That's a different subject.
Yeah.
But it is important that they can hear you breathing. Now, if you want your baby in your own room, that's your personal choice. Do your research, decide what you want to do as a parent. Because ultimately, it's about you and your baby. It's about the holistic environment of the family.
Yeah.
If you are going to put a newborn baby in their own room, I would recommend that you have the top sort of monitor, so movement, sound, and camera. Yeah. And then you're going to be happy about it.
Yeah. It's that peace of mind, I guess.
It is. It is a peace of mind thing.
Yeah. And I tell you what, I'll be honest here. I didn't have my newborns in our room for very long. I don't even know why. It was just something that happened. But looking back, I kind of wished I'd had them in there for longer. Yeah. You don't get those times back, actually, and it's also so close to the bed.
No, I mean,
live and learn.
Yeah. For the 21 and a half years I was overseas doing newborn babies, 99% of my babies I co-slept, which is sharing the same bedroom.
Yeah.
And the one baby, because there was only one baby that I didn't have in my room, I was up all night. Yeah. Because it was a new baby. I didn't know its movements. I wasn't its mother. Yeah. And it took me about a week to get used to the baby. Yeah. And I'd have the monitor on really loud. Once I got used to the baby, then I turned it right down again. Yeah. Because those monitors, if you're using them overnight, remember they're a megaphone. And they actually, if you have them up high, it is a megaphone. Yeah. So you need to have it on a low volume so you can actually hear the baby rather than have it megaphoning out to you.
And I think what you're saying is that nurturing from actually presence and connection and proximity. It's we make it a bit hard for ourselves sometimes, don't we? When we really just need to Just reach out and
reach out and touch
each other.
Touch.
Yeah.
I have a favourite. I've got a favourite saying. Takes time, acceptance, consistency, which is 80%, and touch. Touch is powerful.
Yeah. That's a good tip. In a lot of your tips and information, you just say that just a hand on baby who needs to go back to sleep might be all that takes.
And I also say about when if you're leaving them to cry in a cot, that visualize if that was your grandmother or your best friend in the back room, would you leave them crying out?
Yeah.
For extended periods.
Yeah. There's a question: how long should a 6-month baby sleep in one go at night? It's the golden question. Like, when is my child going to sleep through the night? Is basically the question. But all children are different. All babies are different. Obviously, there isn't probably a set answer. But ideally, how long should a 6-month-old sleep in one go at night? What do you think?
Ideally, for me, 12 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. However,
ideally for everyone, probably.
Everybody. Yeah. but it's hard work. You've got to work. You've got to work at it as a newborn baby.
So a 6-month-old is capable of sleeping 12 hours.
Absolutely. But what I don't want is every mother out there with a 6-month-old baby going, "Oh my God, my baby's not doing this," because it's a daytime routine that makes a nighttime routine.
Yeah.
So ideally, a daytime routine for a 6-month-old baby. Their wake cycles are 2 3/4 hours to 3 hours.
Yeah.
And they're having 2 naps of a minimum of an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So they're eating well, and they know how to self-settle and resettle.
Yeah.
You can't expect a baby to sleep overnight if they don't know how to resettle, because they wake up.
Yeah.
We wake up overnight.
Yeah.
Somebody taught us how to resettle.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing, is we're teaching our babies to resettle.
Yeah.
Statistics out there will tell you that babies can be night feeding till like 18 months, etc. But I've got a little bit of a beef about that, because we've got a huge obesity, ratio. They eat all day, they eat all night.
We're in the habit of eating.
Yeah, to me it's not healthy.
Not so a 6-month-old is not necessarily going to need a feed at night.
No.
Yeah.
They might need reassurance.
Enjoy a feed at night.
Oh, absolutely,
yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And they might need cuddles during the night, or reassurance and things like that. But that's why I always resettle before I feed, so I ensure that I'm feeding for hunger and not for comfort. So if you can't resettle a baby, you feed them, or you co-sleep with them.
Here's a quick one that I'll try and answer. My daughter is 17 months old. Is it okay for her to sleep in our room? We just talked about that. It is, because it's personal preference, it's parental choice, how they want their family network to run and to look like. And so you do what you
feel is right for you.
You feel is right for your family.
Yeah. And don't listen to anybody else, because if you're listening to other people, remember that you are the parents. This is your time to parent. Everyone else has got their own children to parent, or they've had their time of parenting. And yes, you know what? You're going to make mistakes, but are they mistakes? No, because there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong way to parent. There's easy and hard ways. And also remember, you cannot fail as a parent.
That's good. It's a good point. So I mean that's so key, isn't it? Ask for help, but weigh it up and see, does this work for my family? And
what you do is you ask for, and I do this in my own personal life. I ask about 10 people different ways of doing something, or what should I do? Then I take all that information, I step back, and I make my own decision. And then at the end of the day, I made that decision. So if I didn't get it right, it's me that didn't get it right.
It's good. Here's an interesting question. My 5-month-old has decided to sleep on his side. Is this safe?
Absolutely. Once a baby starts rolling, you can't really dictate how you sleep a baby. And as long as the 6-month-old 6-month or 5 month?
5 month.
5 month. Sorry, is in a sleeping bag. There's no sheets or blankets in the bed. Absolutely. But if there's sheets and blankets in the bed, get rid of them, because they can actually move under them as well.
Yeah, so a sleeping bag, so they're nice and toasty warm, but that cannot come over their face. Nothing else in the cot that could come over their face.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
So no toys that can land on their face. Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing tied on to the cot. No, very careful with bumpers and all that sort of thing. Okay, a 17-month-old is very clingy at night. Advice to help her get to sleep. She's been holding her hand by the looks. Just that, your kids go through phases, and some of them, it's a long phase of being really unsure about saying goodnight at the end of the day.
I mean, what we've got to remember is, if we're feeling yuck, if we're not feeling good, what do? we go to our partner for a hug.
Yeah.
Okay, babies and toddlers are the same. So again, I would be looking at her daytime routine and seeing what's happening in the daytime routine, because people say they have a good evening routine, but actually you can't have a good evening routine if you don't have a good start of the day, because it's the start of the day that dictates the evening routine. So I'd want to be looking at the daytime routine. I'd want to sort of know whether the mum was working or whether the mum was, you know, at full-time home, because sometimes, you know, that's how the children and toddlers show that they miss their mums.
Yeah, they just need a bit more reassurance.
Yes, so reassurance is good.
At some other times of the day, I remember getting this advice, you know, have some really good quality time at other times of the day, so they feel they're really topped up.
Absolutely, because we all rush around, but actually it's really important just to stop and look at them, play with it. Not play with our children, but, you know, have a cuddle, read a book, ask them about how they're feeling. With
the child that is crying at bedtime, and do you have advice for coming and going, reassurance, coming into the room quietly, silently? What do you...
Well, first of all, I look at their daytime routine. I won't do anything with nighttime routines unless they've got a good daytime routine. I look at their diet, I look at what's happening in the daytime. Then if, depending on the age of the baby, depending on the type of cry, is my next step. Okay, so it's really, really important. For some of the older ones, especially they're holding a hand, is that I would then go to sitting on the floor. Okay, and I'd sit on the floor, or actually I'd probably lie on the floor, because when they look over, and if mummy's sitting up, they go, oh, well, I can sit up too. But if you're lying and pretending to go to sleep, your toddler and your babies mimic what you do. So I tend to lie on the floor and just pretend to be asleep. I'm there. My presence is powerful. They're not on their own. I won't leave them crying, you know, for a long time on their own. So off and on crying, they're going to sleep cry for this age up to 20 minutes. But if they've got snot running out their nose and eyes and, you know, all that kind of stuff, I want to be in the room. I want to be there reassuring, and I just slowly move out. So for that little one, I'd probably lie on the floor for about 5 minutes. And then I'd get up and hold their hand and put them to sleep. I'd do that for 10 days. Then my next 10-day step would be lie on the floor for 10 minutes and then touch. And eventually build up to 20 minutes. So eventually they will learn to fall asleep on their own. But it takes time. Time, acceptance, consistency, and 80%, and touch. And there is no quick fix. There are a lot of people out there that say there's a quick fix to getting your baby sorted out or your toddler sorted out. There's no quick fix. It takes time, and the slower you move, the better results you'll get.
Which is why it's so key to be kind to ourselves, so that we can be kind to our kids, and just take a deep breath and put your feet up for a minute if you can. Have a cup of tea, and read Dorothy's book. Read my book. It's available on her website. And in bookstores. Wickles was on their top 10 at Wickles. Remember, you can ask Dorothy and all our experts a question at OHbaby.co.nz, ask our experts. If you can't remember that and you get lost, just go to the OHbaby site and have a look around, because we've got plenty of articles from Dorothy in the past talking about all range of sleep issues, all our experts contributing on everything from reflux to dummies to everything. So do that. Go to babyhelp.co.nz if you want to speak to Dorothy specifically. We have run out of time for questions, but we will be back. We're going to do Friday Live on Fridays, funnily enough. Do you like what I did there? Friday Live. So we're going to do live sessions with our experts on Fridays. We will have Dorothy back, maybe even next week. You just never know. But you know what? There is still time to register for our OHbaby Coffee Catch-Up on Monday, which is happening on North Shore, Northcote, 10 a.m. To register for that, you can go to ohbaby.co.nz and find the communities page, and you can register for the coffee catch-up. Dorothy will be speaking for like 2 hours. You get 2 hours of Dorothy wisdom for that. And great coffee and biscuits. Great coffee and chocolate biscuits. So come along if you're in Auckland. The subscription to OHbaby for 12 months. You get a subscription for that as well. Oh, it's amazing. It's the best $20 you will ever spend. I'm hoping it's $20. It is $20. It is $20. Yeah. She's also at the baby show, Dorothy. Absolutely. Dorothy is at the baby show speaking as well, which is coming up in Auckland, 19th and 20th of August. Yeah, Friday and Saturday mornings, 11 to 11:45, and I'll also be floating around on stands. Yes. So thank you for joining us today. We have had a lot of fun. I hope we've answered some of your questions. We haven't got to everyone. I'm really sorry about that. But do come and find us online. Ask Dorothy a question and ask our experts on the OHbaby page, because we really want to offer share as much of your wisdom as we can. We really want to encourage parents. This is it's a tricky journey, but it's a good journey, and we can all support each other in this, especially when it comes to sleep.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
And don't forget, parenting is a lifelong journey.
A lifelong journey.
And parenting to sleep is part of that.
Parenting to sleep, it's such a good. It's teaching our kids to sleep. Don't worry about crazy theories. Just bear in mind we are teaching our children to sleep. Thank you, Dorothy.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. See you soon.
Bye, everyone. We off.